There is a quiet strength in certain people, a kind of calm you can feel the moment they enter a space. You've felt it before. That person who speaks their mind without apology, who makes choices that are truly their own, and you've probably wondered, how are they able to live like that? What's the secret behind their unshakable inner peace? It isn't magic. It isn't a trait they were simply born with. It's a psychology forged through a series of deliberate, internal shifts. And the story of how they built that freedom begins long before you ever noticed their confidence. Most of us live in a subtle state of performance. We soften our edges to fit in. We silence our true thoughts to avoid conflict. We trade our wildest dreams for versions that seem more acceptable to the crowd. Each compromise seems minor on its own, but over a lifetime they build a wall between who we are and who we present to the world. But that other kind of person, they felt that same pressure. They heard the same voices urging conformity, and then they reached a breaking point. It wasn't an explosion, but a quiet, firm decision. The performance was more exhausting than the potential judgment, and they chose to stop. That single choice changes everything. It rebuilds your sense of self from the inside out. You stop renting your confidence from others. Most people claim, "I don't care what others think," but the reality is, they often do. They say it hoping to make it true. But those who genuinely live this way operate from a different core principle. Their shift wasn't born from arrogance, but from a profound and necessary realization. Losing yourself is a far greater cost than losing someone else's approval. Science tells us we are hardwired for connection. Our ancestors needed the tribe to survive. But here's what that ancient wiring does. It interprets social judgment as a direct threat. Your body reacts to criticism almost like it would to physical danger. This is why caring feels so instinctual, and breaking free feels like fighting your own biology. So how do they do it? They don't eliminate the fear. They don't become numb to it. They simply outgrow it. And that growth starts with a new relationship to discomfort. They become more familiar with the heavy ache of inauthenticity, the stress of people-pleasing, the exhaustion of constant self-editing. Then they are afraid of the temporary sting of someone's opinion. When that balance tips, a fundamental change occurs. There comes a day, entirely ordinary, when they look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. They see a collection of expectations and adaptations, but not their own soul. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. These individuals don't wake up with superhuman self-esteem. They wake up profoundly tired of being governed by invisible critics. So they choose honesty, not because it's trendy, but because the alternative has become unbearable. And then, something remarkable happens in their mind. The praise they used to crave no longer feels like a life-giving force. And because they no longer need it, they paradoxically become more trustworthy. The world can sense inner integrity. It's drawn to those who aren't molded by anxiety. But that's just the surface. There's a deeper layer to their psychology. They have fully embraced a truth most of us fight against. They are imperfect. When you truly accept that you will sometimes fail, sometimes be awkward, sometimes disappoint people, the power that opinions hold over you simply dissolves. The fear of judgment is often just the fear of being seen as flawed. Those who are free know that to be human is to be imperfect. And once you own that, criticism loses its edge. They aren't fragile. They aren't pursuing flaws. They are pursuing truth. And truth demands more bravery than perfection ever could. Another cornerstone of their mindset is this. They know that being judged is unavoidable. You can be the kindest person and still be disliked. You can be silent and still be accused. You can give generously and still be met with suspicion. Once you accept that judgment is a constant, you stop arranging your life to avoid it. There is an immense liberation in knowing that no matter how perfectly you behave, someone will always view you through their own distorted lens, and that lens says everything about them and nothing about you. People who live like this have learned a crucial lesson. Opinions are projections, not facts. If someone interprets your confidence as arrogance, that is their filter. If they see your quiet nature as timidity, that is their story. Every single opinion is filtered through another person's history, their wounds, their biases. When you understand this, you stop absorbing it as a personal attack. They've also constructed something internally that many never do, a reliable inner guide. Instead of wondering, what will they think? They ask, does this feel right for me? That single question liberates them from the exhausting loop of seeking external validation. Now, here's what's often missed. These people are not emotionless robots. They feel nervousness. They sense social pressure. The difference is their relationship with that fear. They see anxiety as information, not as a command to retreat. For most, fear screams, stop, hide, conform. For them, it whispers, this is unfamiliar territory, but you can navigate it. That subtle shift rewires their entire life. They don't avoid scenarios where they might be judged. They move through them, trusting their capacity to handle any unease. That trust is built gradually in small, courageous moments of choosing self-respect over popularity. Each time they do, their inner foundation grows stronger. Not as a loud, boastful confidence, but as a quiet, unshakable calm. Another vital psychological insight they possess is the understanding of how temporary people's thoughts truly are. People think about you much, much less than you imagine. Even a harsh judgment is often a fleeting thought in their day, quickly replaced by their own worries. Grasping the brevity of human attention is incredibly freeing, but beneath all this lies the deepest truth. These individuals have learned to distinguish between their identity and their image. Your image is the portrait the world sees. Your identity is the artist who paints it. When you prioritize your image, life becomes a gallery opening for critics. When you prioritize your identity, you live from a place of authentic power. Your peace is worth more than their applause. What's fascinating is that the less someone craves approval, the more capable they are of forming deep, genuine bonds. They aren't interacting from a place of neediness or a desire to be liked. They connect from a place of wholeness. And that authenticity forges relationships that are far more resilient than any performance-based connection. This psychological strength often has roots in earlier life. Those who were constantly critiqued as children can become hyper-aware of opinions, but those who were encouraged to trust themselves, or who faced situations where they had to rely on their own judgment, develop a natural immunity to external validation. Some of the most resilient people aren't those who were always praised, but those who learned to thrive without it. This resilience matures into a profound mental fortitude. It shows up in subtle ways, a comfortable silence that isn't needy, making choices without over-explaining, setting clear boundaries without guilt, and selecting inner tranquility over universal acceptance. These individuals also master a rare skill, emotional equilibrium. When they receive a compliment, they appreciate it but don't let it define them. When they face criticism, they consider it but don't let it devastate them. Their value doesn't fluctuate with public opinion. it remains constant. This steadiness isn't rooted in pride. It comes from a clear understanding of who they are, what they stand for, and what truly matters in the long run. There is a profound serenity in living this way. A serenity that states, I am accountable for my actions, but not for your perception of them. And when someone lives from that place, the world recognizes it, not as defiance, but as a mature, grounded presence. But the journey continues. There's a final, powerful layer that truly unlocks this way of being, and it's the one most people never fully grasp. They discover a counterintuitive reality. The world is actually kinder when you are aligned with your true self. The more you try to conceal, the more people question your motives. The more you reveal your genuine nature, the more people feel at ease around you. Being real has a magnetic quality. It attracts the right connections and gently repels those that were never meant for you. But this level of authenticity isn't about being rigid. It springs from a deep, internal awakening, the understanding that life is fleeting, and to spend it pretending is a silent betrayal of your soul. When you truly comprehend that, you begin to move through the world differently. Every action becomes more intentional. Every moment becomes an expression of your truth, not a bid for acceptance. Let's be honest, caring too much about opinions is mentally draining. It turns simple decisions, what to wear, what to say, which path to take, into complex equations of social risk. But those who liberate themselves from that drain discover a new mental clarity. They cease looking for external permission. They stop contorting to fit into societal molds. They release the burden of maintaining a facade. Their thoughts become lighter. Their emotional landscape becomes more peaceful. They become less impulsive and more thoughtful. When faced with disagreement, they don't feel assaulted. They become interested. And that interest allows them to evolve instead of entrench. This is why many of these people are seen as wise. Their choices aren't driven by fright, but by insight. They don't seek validation, but they remain open to counsel. They measure everything against their internal guide. If it resonates, they integrate it. If it doesn't, they release it. That ability to let things go is one of the greatest psychological strengths a person can cultivate. Most people hold on tightly to slights, to judgments, to misunderstandings, but those who are free have mastered the art of release. They know what is theirs to carry and what is not. They understand that a person's reaction often reveals more about their inner world than it does about your actions. And because they don't cling, they don't break, they can walk away from disapproval with the same poise they approach appreciation. Not because they are detached, but because their sense of self is not tied to either outcome. There is a unique tranquility in this existence. A tranquility that feels like being the calm eye of a hurricane, untouched by the chaos swirling around you. But here, what's even more compelling. People who don't rely on opinions are often highly empathetic, not the performative kind that seeks to make everyone happy, but a quiet empathy that comprehends the inner struggles of others without losing its own center. They recognize the insecurity behind a critical comment. They see the personal history behind a judgment. This awareness shields them from taking things personally. To them, an opinion is a data point, not a directive. They listen to a perspective, discern what it reveals about the speaker's worldview, and then consciously choose how to respond. This emotional discernment isn't cold, it's highly intelligent, and that intelligence builds unshakable inner freedom. They have also acquired the rare capacity to be misunderstood without spiraling into panic. This is a hallmark of true maturity, because every person must eventually face a delicate reality. You cannot control how you are perceived by everyone. The moment you accept that, you stop structuring your life around perception. Imagine living where being misunderstood doesn't shatter your self-worth, where critique doesn't halt your ambitions, where judgment doesn't steer your decisions. This is the life these individuals lead, not without effort, but with profound consciousness. Another crucial element is boundaries. These individuals aren't defiant without cause. They are protective of their mental and emotional space. They don't let guilt drive their choices. They don't agree when they mean no. They don't abandon themselves to keep a false peace. Instead, they create genuine peace by honoring their own limits. And, surprisingly, people respect those with clear boundaries far more than those who try to please everyone. Boundaries communicate self-value, and self-value silently instructs others how to treat you. This is why these individuals often advance in every aspect of life personally, in their careers, emotionally. They make choices based on lucidity, not fear. They follow paths that others fear to tread. They take calculated risks. They generate real value because they aren't confined by the invisible prison of expectation. Their courage seems innate, but it is constructed, step by step, through countless decisions to choose difficult truths over comfortable lies. But under all of this, there is a more profound understanding, one that is rarely discussed. These individuals grasp the fleeting nature of all human judgment. Opinions shift, people evolve, perspectives transform. What someone believes about you today will be different tomorrow, influenced by their own state of mind. Realizing this shatters the myth of permanence. And once that myth is broken, fear's grip weakens. But perhaps the most significant part of this entire psychology is this. They have learned to grant themselves the approval they once begged from the world. Instead of waiting for external recognition of their worth, they acknowledge it within themselves. This self-validation becomes their bedrock. When you don't require the world to affirm your identity, you stop bargaining with yourself, and that grants you a power that is truly yours to keep. People who have unlocked this freedom have made peace with their own complexity. They know they are a work in progress. They know they will They know they will sometimes move ahead of others and sometimes be left behind. And instead of concealing these realities, they accept them. This acceptance removes the immense pressure to be perfect. And without that pressure, they remain open, curious, and capable of endless growth. Growth is effortless when you're not terrified of how it appears. One of the biggest misconceptions about these people is that they are detached. The truth is, they are deeply connected to their purpose, to their values, to their self-respect. They simply refuse to be dictated to by external static. And because of that, they cultivate a powerful skill, the ability to decide which opinions actually hold weight. They don't reject all feedback. They become discerning. They listen to voices that come from wisdom, not worry, from support, not control, from truth, not distortion. When a person lives like this, they carry a distinct energy, an energy that feels solid, an energy that feels serene, an energy that doesn't need to prove anything. They enter a space not to be validated, but to be present. And this genuine presence has a calming effect. It makes others feel safe to be themselves. People intuit when they aren't being sized up. They sense when someone is speaking from a place of integrity. That sense builds profound trust. Authenticity is infectious. When one person lives honestly, it gives others unspoken permission to do the same. This is why these individuals often become guides, even without trying. They aren't followed because they command it, but because they possess an inner stability that others aspire to find within themselves. But this stability comes at a price. To achieve it, they had to release something deeply seductive, the fantasy that everyone will approve of them. They had to embrace the fact that not everyone will get them. Not everyone will endorse their choices. And that acceptance, as challenging as it is, forms the very bedrock of their liberation. Most people exhaust themselves trying to evade being misinterpreted. But those who are free accept misunderstanding as an inevitable part of the human experience, and this acceptance allows them to live more fully. They stop choking on the pressure of constant self-surveillance. There is a gentleness in them, but also a formidable strength. A strength built by choosing authenticity repeatedly, especially when it's the harder path. And perhaps the most beautiful aspect of their psychology is this: they retain their compassion. They don't judge those who are still trapped in the cycle of seeking approval. Instead, they understand that each person is on their own path. They know how hard it is to break free. They know the deep roots of the fear of judgment. They know how long it takes to hear your own voice above the world's noise. Their compassion is born from their own struggle, yet, with all this understanding, they continue walking their own path. They don't let the world chart their course. They don't wait for a green light from society to take a step. They understand that the purpose of life is not to be applauded, but to be experienced fully. And in that full-blooded living, they inspire others not with grand speeches, but with the quiet power of their example. The psychology of those who are free from the weight of constant opinion is unto tale of defiance. It's a story of homecoming. It's the story of reclaiming yourself after years of losing pieces to expectation. It's the story of selecting truth over theater, inner quiet over external noise, evolution over approval. It's the story of becoming complete. And when you understand this psychology to its core, something within you starts to stir. You begin to see that the freedom you've admired in others was always a potential within you. It isn't a rare gift for a select few. It is a choice, accessible to anyone willing to confront their own fears. And if you're listening, truly listening, a small part of you might already be stepping toward that freedom. Not with a shout, but with a quiet breath. The way all real transformation starts. It begins as a quiet thought. My life is my own. And once that thought takes root, it grows, slowly at first, then steadily, and one day, you realize you possess the same inner calm you once only observed in others. Because the truth is, this psychology isn't really about them. It's about the version of you that you've been waiting to become. The version that is already free. The version that has stopped performing, stopped minimizing, stopped bargaining with its own essence. The version that exists, completely, honestly, and without regret. And maybe, that version is much closer than you've ever allowed yourself to believe. If this exploration of inner freedom resonated with you, help winds of thought reach others seeking the same clarity. Please like this video and subscribe for more.